Welcome back to Bread and Butter, everybody. We are the Hearthstone podcast where we serve up the basics for Hearthstone so you can improve your game. And today we have special guest, Terry. Terry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Tito, how about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. Terry, welcome to the show. It's been a long time since I've known you. It's great to have you on the show. What you been up to in Hearthstone lately?
In Hearthstone, well, my MMR has been like on a giant roller coaster. Like in 3 days, I went from 10.1 down to like 7.8 at the start of spring break. And I've just kind of been slowly climbing back. I got back up to like 8.5-ish and then slid back to like 8.2. It's been like a giant yo-yo these last few weeks. Kind of frustrating at times. It's just a game, so it's whatever at the end of the day.
Are you attempting to at some point make it to the lobby legends, or is that not on the
that's
radar?
like it's too much try hard, and I'm too old to try to play that hard that much. And it's not like very much money, so at the end of the day, it's not really worth the time investment and the frustration of it all. Like I got my MMR up to like top 10 before, like back when I was really try harding, like 2 years ago or whatever. But after that, I don't care anymore. Like I'm an old man. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I don't need to make myself look better to other people. I know I could play at a high level if I need to. So, but now I'm just playing for fun.
Fair enough. Doc, what have you been up to in Hearthstone?
I've been playing Aggro Druid on standard ladder, and then been playing a little bit of BGs. Not nearly to the extent that or the level that Terry has been, but I hit 5K this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a fun Rakanishu game followed by a fun Galewind game. But yeah, just playing a little bit. Aggro Druid, like, oddly feels pretty decent right now. Like Shadow Priest can give it a hard time, and then there is one Imp Warlock that gave it a hard time. But other than that, like, I've been able to run over like Paladins and some other Shadow Priests and stuff, and some it feels nice giving it one last hurrah before it gets obliterated in rotation. Tito, how about yourself?
I've actually been doing pretty well. I hit Legend early in the month, and I decided that this month was the month I was going to start trying and not just, moving. Well, I did a little bit this last month, but I exclusively stuck with only a couple decks, and mostly Shadow Priest and a bit of Felrel spell DH, and I'm staying within around 4,000. I get up to 5,000, I get down to 3,000. We'll try to make a final push over the next couple days, but I'm excited to hopefully have made a little bit of progress with my MMR, so that way when I come into Legend, I'm a little higher, and I'm not as volatile. So this has been an interesting experiment for me, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. So Terry, what do you do outside of Hearthstone? What have you been up to?
Well, recently just been on spring break with my daughter and wife. My wife took like a week and a half off. Daughter's been on break for a couple of weeks, so we just been like doing a lot of nothing. She was sick for like the first half of spring break, which kind of sucks. And just been a lot of like watching a lot of movies and TV, not being on Twitch or streaming at all, and just kind of just chilling with the family. It's actually been kind of fun. But now I kind of miss my chat and everybody. So it's definitely good to. I'm gonna be popped back on tonight, like the first time in like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
and it feels nice. My I can't just like give up time with my wife to just stream. She'd just get too mad at me. It's not worth the not worth the value.
No, happy wife, happy life. Absolutely. How about yourself, Doc? What have you been up to? I think you just took a little trip, right?
Yeah. I just got back from Blizzard Land, and that was a good old fun time. Got to see Daniel Storm and Sheldon, got to meet Smarms, celebrated my girlfriend's brother's 19th birthday, watched the other brother at Gem State Nationals, which is a ballroom dance competition. Ran into some people I knew like years ago through church that I haven't talked to in like 10 years. So that was really cool to see them in a place where neither of us expected to see anyone we would know. And then we got back yesterday and just been kind of relaxing and recovering from a long trip. But yeah, it was fun. Tito, how about yourself?
I've just been kind of reorganizing myself. I have a lot of projects going on, and sometimes it's easy to get sidetracked by one thing or another. And I'm trying to really just get myself better organized and more focused on everything so I can reprioritize. But outside of that, not much going on. Wife's been working a little bit extra to help pay for our Disney vacation in a few months, and just living the dream, working and stuff. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the new expansion coming out? We're not going to talk exclusively about the expansion today. That's next week when we have Daniel Stormrage Sheldon on the show, which we're very excited about. But what are your initial thoughts, impressions? Terry, I know you're not a standard player, really, but have you been paying attention at all?
All I knew is they had some rave on that Nicolina was part of, and that's the extent of the expansion I know about. I don't pay any attention to standard or anything. Like, I played too much constructed Magic in my past, and now I just find constructed to be very boring and headbanging against the wall more than fun.
Fair enough. How about yourself, Doc?
I really like the theme. I really like that it's a music festival. I like that ETC's a band manager now, so he had his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame run many years ago, and now he's back and managing different bands. And yeah, I just think music festival totally fits like Hearthstone's like fun and hijinks atmosphere that they like to put into their universe. And then even like the expansion logo is a guitar pick with like a bar of music like in front of it. And I just think it's just all around the flavors very good. Tito, how about you?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I really like that they fully have delved into a non-serious Hearthstone theme. Like, even a lot of times they put some things out and half of it's funny, half of it's serious. Like Castle Nathria, it had some serious undertones, but it was also goofy. But some of the more serious characters were serious. And this is complete camp and puns for days, puns for weeks, and I am absolutely here for it. But like I said, we will talk more about that next week in depth. We will know all the cards as of the 30th. So we'll take a look, and we're not going to go card by card. We're not crazy like that, but we'll get some general impressions and go over that. But anyway, Doc, I think it's time to get to know our guest. So why don't you go ahead and take care of that?
Yeah. So Terry, what was the game that ushered you into having video games as a thing that you do?
Okay, so it wasn't really video games that got me started. Like, we've had like games since I was like a young child, but like I started off in like competitive Magic at like, I guess, a relatively young age, like 17-ish, which was like 1994. So I'm like an old man. I was like right when Magic came out, and I was like on the Pro Tour for about 10 years of that. I was like super highly competitive in Magic for a very long time. After I kind of transitioned out of Magic, I was like, okay, gotta actually finish school, try to get a job, be normal. And then I found poker instead of doing a real job. So I kind of transitioned from Magic then into professional poker after my computer science degree did nothing for me. And then ended up just kind of playing Hearthstone afterwards because it was just like a good alternative to Magic. The games were shorter. It didn't require the major financial commitment, which is kind of ironic that Magic does. And I don't know, this is kind of how I ended up in Hearthstone from there.
So from playing Hearthstone, what about BGs made you want to switch over and have that be like your main mode?
So like originally when Hearthstone first came out, I was just playing Arena because, like I said, I was playing Magic Pro Tours for like 10 plus years. So I would do like intense constructed battles for months on end, preparing for tournaments. And it's pretty boring after a while of playing like the same matchup like hundreds and hundreds of times. So I've always like preferred like draft formats, right? So I was kind of like into Arena initially, and then when BGs came out, is kind of like a draft format of itself, and that you just kind of like build what's given to you each game. Each game is very different than the next. There's no like preset things that you're kind of forced to do, and just makes it more fun and like different each game you play, which makes it like something that you just play repetitively as opposed to just playing constructed where it just feels like I said, like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. So how did you start your streaming journey?
So I started streaming during the pandemic, literally because there was nothing else to do. And I needed like some sort of social interaction. Like everything was locked down. You couldn't really go out, see friends, see family. So everyone's just kind of stuck at home. So I just kind of like, well, let's try streaming. I'm pretty good at Battlegrounds. I could go out, I could play, make, $10 a month or something, and just like interact with people and just socialize and be able to have like some sort of social life in this like period where we couldn't really socialize with anyone. It just kind of became my home since then. Like I feel like I know many of the people that stream pretty well now. It feels like more of a community that I'm like a major part of. I kind of just want to like spread that love to like other people and other streamers because I want them to feel that sort of inclusion.
And you're kind of accumulating that coming up to TwitchCon, right? Because the Terry House is an actual thing.
Yeah, so we've renting a house with I think 10 other people now at TwitchCon, which are all just like streamers and people from stream, good friends that we made up, and we're just gonna go live together during TwitchCon for like 4 or 5 days. Just have like a gathering. It's more about spending time with them than the actual con. Like, it doesn't really excite me that much to go and like meet and greet some of these other streamers, like big time streamers. But meeting all these like smaller streamers, which I can like interact with every day and actually have like actual conversations with, as opposed to just being a random name in the chat which doesn't get read, feels like super worthwhile. It's like making actual friends and just it's a good excuse to meet up.
Absolutely.
So you're involved in the small streamer community, and yeah, can you tell us about what that means to you?
So I remember like streaming to like 0 or 1 people for like a very long time when I first started. So now that when I'm actually have like a slightly bigger base, like 15, 20, 30 people on average for my streams, I kind of just want to like spread the love. Like I go hang out in a lot of people, smaller streamers chats, and like I'm willing to go and raid smaller streamers all the time. Like it's not necessarily about like promoting my numbers, but it's more about like helping these people just like get their start. Like a lot of people are like, okay, I just started streaming. I want to help them immediately like get to affiliate because getting those initial followers and the initial views is always very tough because no one knows who you are, and Twitch is really bad for just growth based if no one knows who you are because you're just like a random person at the bottom of the list. So like
Yep.
at least like I can introduce my audience to them, get them to a spot where maybe they could just start growing a little bit at a time. And like even that, also I just like hanging out and be able to actually interact with the streamer as well, as opposed to going to like big streams. If you're like in a chat with like thousands of other people, it's pretty hard for you to have any sort of real interaction with the streamer, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just another person there. It's kind of hard. That's kind of what I like to do, and that's kind of why I have like more of an involvement with the smaller streamers.
So how did you run a battleground tournament program, HSBG Club, right? And how did that start, and what is that all about?
So it started off because there's like no, like, I think like a majority of the people that play Battlegrounds are probably somewhere in like the 6 to 8K range. And I think this is like a huge market and there's no organized play at all. Like if you can think about it in terms of like Magic, like the Friday Night Magics are where it's like supremely popular. Everyone gets together on Friday night, they pony up a few bucks, they play a tournament, just for fun, and they just have like a good time and like develop like a community. So I was thinking maybe we could take this model of just having like small events, 1 or 2 times a week, someplace that like people that are like in the middle ground of MMRs can go have fun, just like a day that they know that like I want to go play a tournament this day. And it's not like as imposing as going to play like some big $1,000 event or like $500 event that where you're just gonna get paired up against like super high MMR people every round and you're just gonna get crushed. You kind of need like a stepping stone before you get into that sort of thing. So I decided to create HSBG Club, I guess almost 2 years ago now, and just try to like develop this community. It's been okay. It's like a lost leader for me, but I think it's just like a fun thing to do. It doesn't cost me too much, and I think everyone in the that play in it has a good time. That's the most important thing that I'm trying to promote.
That's awesome. So what's something people might be surprised to know about you? It can either be something silly, serious, kind of just something to get to know you a little bit better.
Surprised to know. I mean, actually, I have no idea. Let me think about this for a second.
It
Surprised to
could
know
be
about.
like a fun fact or like an old hobby you used to have. Just know this puts you
Uh,
on the spot, but
yeah,
you don't have
just
to try to think about it too hard.
I mean, like, I guess like some of my Magic accomplishments. Like, I was a former Canadian national champion in Magic. I don't know. Like, probably some random things like my computer science degree, which I had like one job for about 6 months, and I felt like the company kind of screwed me over, and I never went back into computers again, and they just ended up going into poker. So I was like making more on the side playing poker than I was in the computer science degree, and I was working like computer science job. I was working like 60, 70 hours a week, and then like I
Oof.
got like passed over for like a raise I was supposed to get. I'm just like, screw this. I'm not gonna want to bother wasting my time. In
Yeah.
hindsight, maybe not the best of moves. Maybe should just change companies or something. But it is what it is, and I enjoyed my life, and I got a lot of free time to spend with my wife and now my kids. So that's always like a benefit of choices you make.
So, do you have any future plans for your content creation? Are you looking to expand and build, or the HSBG Club?
So we actually like are concentrating on building the HSBG Club stream team this year. We kind of had it established beginning of or middle of last year, but now we're kind of just trying to like create a brand for like the stream team, because we kind of just want to have like a location where people can go see smaller streamers that are like fun. They're not toxic at all. You're just there to like have a good time, and as opposed to just like the hardcore serious streamers where you see like for like all the big streamers are all pretty hardcore in general, trying to like climb up the ladder and get up to lobby legends and all that stuff. But there's like a niche of like the people that are just kind of like middle of the road, just kind of want to have fun with and socialize with, and like so I tried to create a stream team with that. We're inviting new people. We have, like Howard Moon and Obo, and we're trying to get Beaufort, but that didn't work out. I thought Beaufort would have been like the perfect fit for us just because of his relaxed and laid back style. But like, we have like Miss Bowers and, just like people that are just generally fun to just kind of hang out and enjoy and are not like that serious at all about the game.
All right. Well, that concludes our interview. I think it's time to talk about our main topic, and that would be buddies. The buddy meta. So we recently had Pocky on to talk us through a little bit about how to play the game and how to kind of improve your game. But buddies are a little bit different than the standard meta. So, what are buddies, and what is the difference between the buddy meta and the non-buddy meta, and how is it different? They changed it. How is it different from what it used to be?
All right, so buddy meta is actually very different, especially the way they changed it now. So let's just start talking about buddies in general. If you're unaware, buddies are like an extra minion that you're able to acquire throughout the game. Before I used to have like a buddy meter, which was extremely confusing. They wouldn't explain it to anybody, and now they just have it for like a gold cost. Some buddies are obviously way better than other buddies, which kind of makes the hero selection screen a major part of the game. Um, but like buddies in general, I think they're like a pretty good addition. They're much better than like vanilla because like it just like more decision points you have to make in each turn in each game, right? And like the more decision points you have to make, the more each game is going to change a little bit, and like the more skill like is able to come through from each game. Okay, so the previous buddy meta was since no one exactly knew how the buddy meter worked, and because it was only it's like you just get it. You don't have an option of like getting it early or anything. Everyone was like playing very tempo oriented in the first few turns to get their buddies early, and then it forced like a lot of people like not leveling early, like people staying on one a lot early because they want to like to get their buddy as fast as they can because they're not sure when it's gonna come, and winning fights and doing more damage, all this stuff was conclusive was more about playing tempo early to get to your buddy. So now with the buddy meter changes to gold, you kind of plan your turns on when you need to hit your buddy. Like like okay, so my buddy is currently costing me 9. I really need to get it by like 2 turns from now. do I really want to like spend the gold this turn to buy it? Do I like try to win this fight so it gets a little bit cheaper and the gold works out a little better for when I buy it? It makes like a lot more decisions for you to make when it comes to timing your buddy. And I think that's like a huge decision point, which also makes the variance of this game like so much bigger because I think like the skill is the skill difference is exacerbated. I think with the buddy mirror because people that make really good decisions with how they allocate their goal and how they allocate how they want to like get to their buddy. It's just like a huge difference. I'm not sure if I'm being eloquent about this or not. I think it's just like a huge.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think the skill edge, just because of more decision points, is more prevalent in this. And you see like people like Odd Dragon who just like posted on Twitter he won like 8 consecutive games or something, and like you didn't really see that in prior metas.
Well, one of the complaints people had about the first buddy meta was that it was too linear. It pretty much planned your games out for you. So do you feel like the new iteration of buddies takes that away? Do you think it's less linear than it used to be?
Well, I think everyone's game plan was very similar in the previous buddy meta because everyone was like, okay, well, I need to get my buddy, I need to win fights, I need to do more damage, so we're all staying down to try to like win fights and do damage in the early turns. Now everyone's kind of game plan changes. Like a hero like Gale Wing, which in the vanilla meta was always like a 3-on-3 hero. Now you're like, okay, I want to get my buddy early, so I'm probably going to not do the 3-on-3, not take the discovery hero power first. I'm going to either take the buff or the gold one right away so I could try to win fights, get to my buddy early. My buddy just help me produce like more gold through the activation of my hero power and what the buddy effect is. So now it's going to be like a totally new game plan for him. So like the games are not as linear as say previously, where everyone would just be like, okay, well, almost everyone's just staying down on one to try to progress their buddy meter as fast as they can, right? So they could get to their buddies faster. Now, like you have like a better chance to just be able to plan it out, and so you could do like different things that aren't necessarily as intuitive as like vanilla or as like the previous buddy meta.
So in this case, should we still rush out to get our buddy, or does that depend hero to hero?
It depends hero to hero. Like a lot of the times recently, I've been playing it where I just like get my buddy at 0 cost, right? Like it doesn't matter that much to me, like if I hit the hero power early or not, because like I don't necessarily play my buddy right away. Like Gallywix is a good example of this now. Like the Gallywix buddy is still very good, but you don't necessarily need to like get it early. So you could actually just like play for tempo or just play your game as you would, and then when you get it, you're just gonna like probably just like activate your buddy on a turn where it's very gold efficient. Like maybe it might be like 1-0-1-2 gold, 0-1 or 2 gold, and just hold your buddy for like a turn or two until you can really generate some extra value out of it. Right? Like before it would just be like, okay, I need to like use my buddy to give me a ton of tempo. Otherwise I'm gonna fall behind to all the other more powerful buddies. And so I'd have to like kind of like rush to like get my buddy meter up, because there's a tier 4 buddy also prior, I believe. Get my buddy up so I could play it to like survive and get me to the end game where like my hero power is gonna power through. But now like on heroes like him, I just like I play my game, I just take it, I hold it for like a turn or two, then I use it for like tempo, and then like I just kind of play my game for the rest of the game. So I think it's very different. It's not as rushed as it is. It's very hero dependent.
So like you have like there's some buddies that are pretty easy to know that you want to keep them on board, right? Like Brand's buddy, you want to keep that on board for at least a long time, right? And so when you get to your second time you hit the buddy button, which gives you 2 more, you golden it so you can time that with when you have leveled and you're closer to 6 or whatever. But with the Battlecry buddies, like we just talked about, like Gallywix, I believe that one is it gives you either plus health or plus attack. So with that one though, do you ever save that for when you can actually use the power and then get your golden version and then use it again? Or with the Battlecry buddies, are you pretty much just cycling them through a lot of times?
Most of the time you're just cycling them through. Like with the Battlecry buddies, you kind of just want to try to like triple into a brand early to get like max value out of your Battlecry buddies. But a lot of the times, just like this, it takes too long between your first buddy and the golden version or your second and third one to have it stay on board. Like there's a few that have tribes like the Zephyrus one, where you kind of just stay on board as like a tribe if you're doing like Menagerie or have like Light Fang that you could sometimes golden it. But most of the times it's like too weak of a meaning to keep on board for you to have on your board after like the turn you play it. Because most of them are pretty understated relative to the tier they're on. Like I don't think any of them actually have really good stats for the Battlecry ones, except for I think Tog Waggle. That one's like a 7-9 or 9-7 or something. That one's decently statted. But the golden version of that doesn't really do anything special either. So that one's not really like something you want to golden either.
Right, because that one that gives you your lobby filled with
the highest cost minions of each of each person in the lobby.
So what would you say some of the best buddy hero combos are out there right now? The insta picks when you see them.
Actually, I think the change to the Reno buddy makes it a lot better. Like it used to be really bad. I think it's actually like decent now. Galliwix is always going to be a super powerful hero.
Well, what does the Reno one? What does the Reno one do?
Like, okay, so the Reno one. Okay, so the Reno one used to be a tier 2 buddy, which is a 4/1, and it goldens like when it Death Rattle, it goldens the minion on your right, on your board. So it was pretty bad before, but now it got moved down to a tier 1 buddy, and the cost of the gold is like very different. So like it's easier to like golden that buddy, and you could use the golden of it to get to your tier 5 or tier 6 discover like relatively early, and then you could use your hero power to golden the 5 or 6 you discover. So like previously on the Reno buddy, it would just kind of sit on the board for a long time until like you try to find something, hopefully you can golden, and it would just kind of suck. But now you can use it to help you triple into like a 5 or 6 drop, and then you could use your hero power to golden something, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was kind of like the goal you do with Reno now. So I actually think Reno buddy on tier 1 is actually a lot better. Some other buddies that are really good. Maiev is really good. Like the ability of the Maiev buddy is like super strong. You get like the buddy essentially just gives you 3 golden discovers. Like each one gives you a golden discovery, whether it be 2 turns later or if you have brand like the next turn. That one's super powerful. I think Gale Wing is decent still, although it's not. They lower the cost of him to tier 2. Yeah. So it's a little easier to get, but the effect is still quite good, just a little bit slow. Mutinous is also very good if you really know how to work it. You kind of want to keep like just a single minion on board so you can eat all the stats onto the Mutinous buddy and then spit it out onto like 3 value minions like Cleaves or Divine Shields or something. That one's has been really solid too. I think those are like probably my favorite.
Seems like it's pretty good in some certain situations too.
Yeah, the removal of Chronomu it makes Sylvanas considerably worse. Also, that they increase the cost to tier 6, right? It makes it like considerably worse. Oh, also Scabs and Tessa are good just because they steal other people's buddies, and like they get like a ton of value out of that.
Is ETC
like, any of the buddies
good?
Is ETC? No, ETC sucks now. ETC sucks now. Like they removed all the economy from the tier 2 buddies. Like before, I used to have little KT. Used to have the Elise buddy. I can't remember what it's called. Or and then you had the brand buddy, which all will give you economy. So you just like once your hero power every turn, try to get like lots of economy. They just use the economy to like overpower the lobby. Now they moved all of them to 3, so now it's just like considerably worse because you can't just get all this early econ and like lowering of your hero power costs that you used to be able to.
All right. So what other buddies would you avoid?
Oh, pretty much like all the heroes that were bad before tend to be really bad now. Like Wagtoggle. Yeah, Wagtoggle still really bad. I'm trying to get all the Deathwing, not very good. Like just gives extra attack to everything. I'm trying to think of what other really bad buddies. Like most of the time I don't even look at them. I just see which ones are good and just immediately skip over all the bad ones. Like they're probably like 60 of like the 84 heroes in our game, I think it's 84 heroes, are all just bad. Like they're just like unpickable. Like Drekthar, I think, is the one that gives extra attack in the shop. That one's pretty bad. I'm trying to think of just which ones in generals are pretty bad. The Panda Buddy is pretty bad, but the Panda Hero Power is okay in general. The new Hookdust Buddy is insane. I forgot to mention Hookdust. I think Hookdust is probably like the best hero in the game right now, just because his buddy is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not sure if you play with him yet or play with her yet, but her hero power, her buddy is ridiculous. I don't know how that made it through playtesting.
What does that buddy do?
So essentially is whenever you eat a minion, you get the minion's tier in gold. So if you eat a tier 5 minion, you get to discover plus 5 gold, which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Buddy gives you double the gold. So if you eat like a tier 6 minion, when you have the Golden Buddy, it gives you 12 gold. So the first game I played with Hookdust, I was on Finley, and I Finleyed into essentially I had like 4 of the buddies on board. So I was eating a tier 6 minion for 18 gold a turn. And I was just like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm like playing Gallywix, except I get like a free discover every turn. And like, 18 gold a turn. I'm just like, it was like so hard to keep up with and do everything I needed because I had like 29 gold a turn or 30 gold a turn. It's pretty ridiculous. It's probably like the best hero in the game, I think.
Now, were there any of the buddies? You said most of the buddies that were bad, are still bad. But were there any?
Yeah.
Were there any heroes that got better went from a bad hero to a good hero based on their buddy alone?
Let me think. Like I think Akazamzarak got a lot better with the buddy. Like just the fact that like one, it very reliably gets ice blocked with every single game with the buddy, with just having the buddy. Plus the buddy provides like a lot of tempo each turn. It's like a very solid hero to get to like a top 4 finish. It's pretty hard for you to like win games with him, just because like the buddy doesn't have like a very good endgame effect. But it's a very solid hero in general. Apologies.
And the buddy has a death rattle to put a secret into play.
Yeah, it's a death rattle plus secret into play. The golden puts 2 secrets into play. A lot of time you're aiming to just find one with Baron, and then you just like put up some like poisons or shields or something. So you can like replicate, splitting image them or give them divine shield off the secrets and stuff. But like it's just like a very solid tempo buddy that like always just comes top 4 because of ice block and all the tempo that the buddy provides. I'm trying to think of other heroes.
The last buddy meta,
Sorry,
I remember. The last buddy meta, I remember. Those games took the longest because it would just take forever to resolve all those secrets.
Yeah, those turns can be insanely long. It's pretty ridiculous. Let me try to think of other heroes that got way better because of buddies. I'm trying to think of any that got way better because of buddies. I mean, like heroes like Cookie, who have always been good, are the buddy is also very good with them. Virgil's always been good, but like, and the buddy just kind of makes it like a little bit better. Oh, Malagos is probably like the biggest difference from without buddies and with buddies. Like the Malagos buddy essentially allows you to turn with your hero power, you turn a minion into one that's a tier higher. So ideally, the plan is like you want to get your buddy like very early. So you kind of want to stay on 1. You want to like triple into a 4-drop, and then you could just like hero power that guy twice to give you like a random 6-drop, and then you just keep like producing 6 drops every turn from like 4 drops in the shop, and just kind of use that to like find your direction and just kind of like plow through the lobby. So like like a lot of times you'll see like a Malagos board is be like turn 7 or turn 8, and they'll have like multiple 6 drops on their board just from the buddy power, and like that one is just like hugely different than how it is like in vanilla.
What about Curator? I remember the Curator buddy used to be pretty good.
Yeah, the Curator buddy is pretty solid. It is very good in lobbies with Nagas in, just because like if you like Naga, your amalgam, it gives his buddy, I can't remember what his buddy's name is, but it gives his buddy the stats permanently. So like if you give it like +8 attack onto your amalgam, your buddy gets +8 attack. The buddy gets +8 attack permanently. So it's very good in lobbies with like Nagas in it. It's also just like a pretty solid all around buddy. Like it doesn't do anything too special, but like if you can just do basic buffing, it gets pretty big pretty fast.
When do you decide to get out of a buddy? Like I know we talked about the battle cry buddies, which you kind of sell through, but like let's say somebody like your brand, which gives you the battle cries. If you don't have, say, if you're not running like Theo or brand, sometimes you might even sell out of your brand at some point to get a better board. When do you decide to kind of transition out of that to just give yourself a full board?
Okay, so a lot of times it depends on what your buddy does. Like a lot of the economy ones, you tend to get out of like much later than the ones that just give you like random bonus effects. Because like you like having the extra economy allows you to like do more things in the end game than not. So like a hero like Brand, like getting those extra battle cries can mean like a bunch of additional stats on your board. So it's kind of like one of the last guys you kind of want to get out of before you start putting in your end game pieces, which are like, you know, like Mantids or Leroy's or Selflesses and stuff, or like Tunnel Blaster. Right. So like that guy tends to stay on board a much longer because until you feel like you have to go all in against an opponent to make sure you win or don't die is kind of like when you hold on to those ones. For the other buddies, like say you're like on, look at the buddies, like Rafam or Rat King or like Death Speaker Blackthorn, when they're no longer useful, then you just can't kick them. Like a lot of those ones also have like no tribes. The ones with no tribes are tend to be a little bit worse because you can't actually put more stats on them to make them a relevant minion, right? Like you can't just have like this bad 4/6 minion that does like relatively nothing on your board, right? Like they're fun, but like yes, you get a piece of economy every turn, like you get like a gold out of them, but like after a turn like 10, that one gold is like not that relevant. You need something that's going to be impactful on your board to allow you to win fights. You can't just like have bad minions on your board at those points of the game. Um, yeah, but like in general, most of the buddies kind of stay until later. Like, let me think of like some buddies that would get kicked. Like, like the Putricide buddy is like pretty much staying until the end of the game. That's the one which is it just gives you a random creation. That one's like just really solid and kind of goes with the theme of what you're planning to do. Um, well, yeah, usually like just it gets closer to endgame and your buddy's usefulness like isn't relevant anymore, and it doesn't you can't like put stats on it like anymore. Like Vol'jin's buddy like probably stays for quite a long time just because you want to be able to transfer stats to other minions, so you can like make Vol'jin the buddy big, transfer the stats to other minions. But then like minion heroes like say Vandar or Varden, at the end of the game, you like turn 10, 11, you know, you need a lot of times you just need to go all in to be able to beat someone to make sure you get into the top four or to like win this round against someone they think is pretty strong, and you just kick the buddy. There's no like tried and true formula to it. It's just about be able to evaluate your board strength and whether or not you can afford to keep this weak minion on your board any longer.
Do you have a favorite buddy that's not good that you'll pick up anyway and play it because it's one of your favorites?
A favorite buddy? I don't think there's a favorite buddy. All the
Or I
okay,
mean,
so
hero.
I've actually been playing Jailer a lot, and I don't think people think Jailer is actually good, but with Undead and like Undead in, it's actually pretty good. Like a very solid hero, I think. It's not like a hero that's super splashy. And you look at the buddy, it's like Death Rattle summon 3 tier 1 minions. But it gets your hero power up like really high, really fast. I think my last jailer game, the hero power was up to like plus 30 or something. So
Oh wow.
like, yeah, so I just like pumping it onto like Divine Shields and Cleaves at the end of the game, and like it's like gets up really fast. Like you just kind of stay down low. You pick up like a bunch of like Risen Riders and Micro Mummies and stuff. So you can just really power it up, and then in like turn 7 or 8, it's like +6/+6. You find like a Deflecto or something, or like a Hydra. Then you just start throwing the stats on, and every turn it still goes up like a couple, and it kind of just helps you really roll through the mid game. Yeah.
Now, recently the armor system has changed, and everybody has armor now, and they have up to 20. Does the armor affect your choice of hero at all, or are you still just basing it based on the hero that you have?
Okay, so if you have to choose between like a bunch of bad heroes, you tend to choose the one with the most armor. Just because all the bad heroes generally like you need to high roll like really hard to be able to have a good game. So like if you're looking at let me look at these heroes. I have them all in front of me. So like if you're looking at like a lobby where your hero choices are like uh Drexthar, Enhancel Meccano, Edwin, or what's another bad hero? Like Nas Dormu, right? Like you're like, okay, all these heroes suck. None of their buddies do much. None of their hero powers do much. I'm just gonna pick like the hero with like the highest armor. So I'll just take Nas, who's at 18 armor right now. Like his hero power is like very mediocre. His buddy kind of sucks. But I'm gonna try to take as much armor, try to have as much health to give me enough chances to build a high roll early and try to find a way to like win the game. Yeah, like if you notice, like you'll see like patchwork, even though his buddy sucks and like he's not like he has like nothing besides being at 50 health or is it 55 health, but you'll see like him getting picked by people just because of the health and like just giving you the chance to build a high roll and even just like survive the lobby longer, where you could like come into like instead of coming in like a seventh because your hero sucks, you come fifth because you have those 20 extra points of health, and you're just able to like take the hits a little bit longer while everyone else dies.
You got any other final thoughts for our listeners on the buddy meta that may help them succeed?
This buddy meta is probably a lot more tempo oriented than other metas. Like recently, there always seems to kind of be like a high roller or two. So as long as you like don't face them on their true spike turns, you're kind of able to survive. But you have to like be very knowledgeable about how strong you think everyone in your lobby is. I think this is a very good This is a very good meta to like really be able to test your ability on evaluating opponent strength, just by kind of like looking at how many triples they have, and like looking at how much damage they're doing to people, and if those people should theoretically be strong or not. I think this is actually a really good time to learn to evaluate like opponent strength.
Okay, but what do you do with
if
that?
You evaluate wrong.
What do you, let's say I see that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So what you see your opponent and they spiked and they got a couple triples and you know that they're doing some big damage. What do I do with that knowledge? Because then I look at my board and I'm like, well, do I just try to at that point, if I'm not strong enough, shift into something scammy? Like what do I do with that knowledge?
Okay, so if you see that your opponent's doing a lot of damage just to people, like you have no choice but to play to try to get as strong as possible for this particular turn. So you'll take like a lot of times you'll like won't take small minor buffs because it's not really worth the gold because it doesn't really help you long term. Like say you look at like a mug, right? It only gives you like 3/3 in stats, right? Onto like 3 minions, or like the 5/5 magnetic mech. A lot of times you're just gonna pass that because it doesn't give you that much of a boost for the long term, but it'll definitely give you like a short term boost for now. And you're like, okay, well, I have to do as much as possible this turn. So, I'll buy that. I'll buy like the 2/6 Naga that if you give a spell, it gets poison. I'll buy that just for this one turn. I need to survive this turn to be able to like get past this guy and then let him murder the lobby afterwards. Right? Like you just tell about like how much damage they're doing, and if you look at how their opponents have been doing prior to their matchup to see if they were strong before that. Like if you see someone like cap someone the turn prior, then get capped like right away by the person you're facing, they're probably very strong. So like if you're at like say 14 health on this turn, you gotta just go all in. Like you don't save cards, you don't do anything. You use every gold possible. You try to get as strong on your board as possible, and just like hope it's enough to allow you to like survive through this turn. Otherwise, like most of the time, you're just like, oh, I'll just roll. I'm gonna look for stuff here. Try to find something better. Don't bother trying to find something better. Just like go all in. Just like everything you can to get as strong as you can this turn. Minor upgrades are worth it because it could be the difference between like you surviving this fight or not.
I think that's definitely something lacking in my game where I don't look for I don't tend to look at my opponents all that much, and I probably need to. How about yourself, Doc?
I definitely don't do it as much as I should, but I've, especially today with how kind of my games have went this morning, I was definitely like double checking tribes, double checking triples, trying to check the damage on like relative opponents that we had played within 2 turns of each other to kind of gauge where I'm at compared to who I'm going against. And then like sometimes that changes my positioning depending on like what kind of comp I'm doing. Like I had this weird George comp today, but yeah, like I definitely agree with Terry that this is the perfect meta to learn how to lobby check and just try to get better at understanding what you're going to be facing.
Well, I don't know about you, Doc, but I'm a little full. It's about time for some dessert.
I agree. So Terry, where can people find you?
You can find me at my website, hsbgclub.com, where we run our Battleground tournaments. You can also find me on Twitter, Terry T Gaming, and HSBG Club. And then on Twitch, Terry_Tsang_Gaming.
And Tito, how about yourself?
You can find me at Tito Santana HS on both Twitter and Twitch. How about yourself, Doc?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Doc McButt.
All right. So Terry, do you have any shout outs today?
No real shout outs, but actually I want to promote something. Okay. So
not allowed. You can't do that here.
Not allowed? Okay, well, too bad. April 29th, we're doing a fundraiser tournament on my site for Maritime Max. They're having a very slow maple syrup season, and she's been dying to get this gaming chair for years. So we're going to host a $200 tournament that we've added to the prize for a prize pool, and we're going to run a fundraiser for her that day, and we're going to have a lot of giveaways. April 29th, free to enter on hsbgclub.com.
Now, wait a second.
Awesome.
Not that we're in danger of Max listening to my podcast because she doesn't care about Standard Hearthstone, but I thought that was a secret at this point.
It is. It's going to be announced in the next day. So by the time this podcast comes out, it would have already been announced.
Oh, okay. I didn't think she was going to know that it was a fundraiser for her until after it happened. Okay.
No. She knows it's a fundraiser for her. It's too hard to promote through my channels without her finding out. So we're just, it's a fundraiser for her, and we have lots to give away. I have like 2 standard 75-pack bundles. I have that way we want other places. We're gonna have like a bunch of other stuff, like some headphones given away by Celestial Audio, and we're gonna see if we get some Hyper Horizon stuff and see if Hyper Horizon gives us some stuff to give away since she is a member of Team Hype. Maybe some Hype merch or something.
Yeah. Let's talk afterwards.
I think that's awesome.
Good. I already talked to Venga, so he's gonna let me know on April 1st.
Oh, perfect.
About that.
All right. How about yourself, Doc? Do you get any shout outs or do you have anything to promote?
Yeah, so I have a shout out. Rebooted Reboot gave us our second 5-star review with more than just the star rating. So the title of their review is Foundational. Tito and Doc are laying great groundwork to improve your Hearthstone game. So short and sweet, to the point. Thank you so much, Rebooted Reboot, for the 5-star review. It really does honestly help a lot with visibility, with old defunct podcasts still being viewable and everything on Apple Podcasts. So if any of you feel so inclined, please feel free to leave us a 5-star review.
It definitely makes us feel better, I'll tell you that. Thank you very much, Rebooted Reboot. We appreciate it. Doc was like, we got another review. I was so excited. And I'd like to shout out Terry for being here. Terry, really appreciate it.
Yes,
no problem.
And this is not a shout out, but Doc, we didn't talk about this in depth. You met Smarms. What was that like?
I did. She carries a backpack full of arms with her everywhere she goes. Very true to form. She's a great human. It was an absolute blast. Hopefully, like, we can meet up again soon before BlizzCon, because BlizzCon is quite a ways away. But it was a great time. She's awesome and a fun time and a fun person to hang out with. So if you have the opportunity to, you'll enjoy it.
And I'd also like to shout out my teammate, Being Rachel, who just today hit legend for the first time. And
Oh, awesome.
yeah, we were very
Nice.
excited for her. And also thank you to Ron Mexico. We got his name right tonight. For he took the coaching that she won the coaching in our last event that we had for Fight Night, and he helped her get better with Shockspin Hunter, which is what she used to get the legend. So behooves you to show up to some of the Fight Nights. Maybe you'll maybe you'll win a coaching, and then you'll be legend too. But anyway, thank you, Terry, again for hanging out with us. I think we're about done here. I think we're toast. See ya.
All right. Yeah.
See ya.
Slide two brothers meet one another when they slide up to the mic. It's bread and butter with one another. Let's start up that recording light.